Hi, my name is Rodney West. I am a senior Atlassian consultant at ISOS Technology. Today, I'm joined by our director of project delivery, Sean Parchman. We're going to be discussing how Jira Service Management can make your teams more efficient.
Yeah, so the problem we see with some of the teams in their infancies or without tools are the tools don't help them much. They're getting a lot of email requests, they're getting phone calls. And what Jira Service Management does is provide their clientele with a portal to take all the information and efficiently gather the information they need in order for the agents on the inside or the people that are servicing those requests to efficiently get back to them and solve their problems.
Yeah, and that goes to a key point: standardization. Right? If the people in the organization don't understand what your process is supposed to be, they're not going to raise the request properly. We always hear that thing, right? I sent you an email on this 3 days ago. Why wasn't this actioned on? It ends up being kind of those cases where whenever you have that fragmentation of requests and data, makes it really hard for you to use that in organizational processes properly, which affects like your growth, your scalability, but also you're having to have more people actually responding to those requests. So whenever you're actually able to make that more streamlined by going through a single process that gives you more visibility, more traceability into the items, it makes it to where you do not need as many resources to actually fulfill those items. And it also makes sure that the people that are raising those end up being happier and actually are more willing to engage the proper teams.
Yeah, you nailed it. What our clients often find is it eliminates the back and forth. The client thinks they sent you all the information they needed. The person who's trying to service the request needs to go back and gather more information. What that portal does, or what Jira Service Management does, is it allows for the type of question they have or the type of request they have, it allows us to configure exactly the questions we need answered in order for that person on the other side to service that really well and quickly and efficiently and eliminate the back and forth. The self-help is also pretty amazing in Jira Service Management. As the user is typing in what their problem is, it actually looks up against the documentation that's already in the system and it provides it to them. So if they're having a problem with a printer or just about anything that there might be documented keywords about, it serves them the documentation and gives them self-help. So that right there eliminates a lot of the need for actually a person to touch and have to do something about that. And it gives the people requesting it the information right to their fingertips so they can help themselves.
Yeah, and that knowledge base is actually one of the things, whenever I'm doing client implementation, I always bring up to them. So inside of Jira, you've got the concept of deflection. Deflection basically means I came to the portal to raise a request. I found a knowledge base article that answered it for me. Whenever you first start with your portal, that's going to be kind of low. And there's reports that'll show deflection over time. And really what you want to do is you want to see that deflection number grow. So that means you're starting to see more standardized things come in and you're coming up with articles that are really helping people. So it makes it to where they can get what they need done faster. And then it also allows you to identify, okay, here's the next issue that we may be able to standardize across the knowledge base. And that's one of the things, like I said, I always tell clients, over time, watch that deflection number. If you're using a knowledge base and you don't see that number start to grow, then it probably comes down to a point where your requests aren't formatted properly on the front, so things are getting funneled into the wrong place, or people don't know what questions they need to ask, right? So that's more of a kind of a growth over time. And the opposite side of that is there are things that you may not be able to have full knowledge base articles on. So looking at that gap, it goes, okay, these are specific requests that we need to create new types for inside of the system potentially. And I mean that's like one of the really important things with the knowledge base. The other part, and this isn't the knowledge base piece, but this is more where your information ends up. You've made it past that deflection phase, and now somebody's actually answering things. It's that point that I made initially. Hey, I sent this email 3 days ago. Why haven't you actioned on this? Well, with the portal, you actually have your users to where they're able to go in and they're able to go, okay, this is where my request is. This is the status it's in. These are discussions I've been having back and forth with the person working on this. And, oh, I need to poke the person again. Well, I don't have to send another email. I can do it through the portal, and somebody on that side is going to be seeing this. So it engages a stronger feedback loop in your communications between the agent and the people raising the issues. Everybody hates that where you have a problem, you call somebody, you leave a voicemail, you don't hear anything back. This makes it to where you actually have a more visible way to kind of see that feedback.
Great point. And to add to that, it's the aggregation of all your information, the centralization of all your information. Somebody can go on vacation and it's still there. It's visible to the entire team. All the issues that are out there, everything that's come in is sorted, categorized, prioritized, that anybody can step in. The notes have been taken on a particular issue, and anybody else can step in and help solve that issue.
The main point on how JSM provides solutions to some of these things, right? It's got that knowledge-based link into it, so that grows over time. You can run reporting, so you can see the kind of requests that are more common, right? So you can focus in on, hey, we're getting 1,000 of these requests and 10 of these. Okay, let's see if these 1,000 requests need to be broken down. So it lets you over time, kind of through an evolutionary process in the system, build up something that serves your customers better, which will make them happier. The other thing is it's got that aggregation of data, right? So you can go into these requests, and on the customer side, you're able to see your discussions back and forth with the agent. But importantly for the agents and anybody on the back end that's fulfilling these requests, you actually have this full history, right? So you have comments that you can make to the customer, you can have internal comments that you make to other members of your team or to other teams that may be involved. And so you can actually look at this history. If you start to see requests that are like these again, you may be able to see what the solution was, how you actually approached it. But even for that single one you're in, it provides kind of that handoff mechanism where if the agent who's working on it is not available, somebody else may be able to just take it based on properly working through those issues. So traceability, reporting, and just warm fuzzies for the customer.
Yeah, what I really love about the tool is that we have many clients come to us, and although we see a lot of similarities, everybody does work different and they have unique situations. Jira Service Management is highly customizable, and it's not static either. It scales, it changes. You can design the portal for your users. On the intake side, you can design your service level agreements on the inside to make sure you're turning these problems around quickly. We love to come in and help our clients kind of build that service desk that works for them and really make it efficient. And like I said, the first pass may not be the final pass. You might be able to take more requests over time because you're being so efficient. And you can build those in and grow that service desk over time.
I think the primary there is happier customers, whether they're internal or external the organization. It removes that ambiguity on where requests need to be raised and what their state is and when they'll be fulfilled. And really, at the end of the day, any service management portal, that is your ultimate goal, right? Is to have happy customers. There's a lot of work you want to get done. You want to be more efficient. You want to save money by having fewer resources, actually work on the issues. But if you don't have people who are happy, they're not going to use the system, and none of that other stuff's going to come across. So the very first level of success is going, okay, are our customers happy? And JSM has like the CSAT scores, the customer satisfaction scores that basically get sent out when an issue is closed. They go, okay, was this 1 to 5, and they can answer a question that you basically format on, was this fulfilled your needs, or basically whatever you want to do as an organization. But those are, if you're seeing a bunch of ones coming in on stuff, you've got a process problem, or you've set your portal up wrong. But when you're successful, you start to see that 4 and 5 on the scores, and maybe people are going to make comments, maybe they're not, but you're going to start to see those scores be considerably higher. So that's, I think, one of the primary success metric, at least from my perspective, whenever I'm talking to customers, is that they're able to fulfill the request in a timely fashion to make their customers happy.
Yeah, that client feedback is so important. And the metrics that you capture of that and that you can react to that. Also, you have the visibility and the ability to watch how long your issues have been stale. So you can see the turnaround on the issues, and you can run reports on the issues, and you can measure how quickly you're turning them around if it's within the service level agreements you want to provide to your clients. So you can kind of see, you can start matching up the feedback with how quickly you're turning around issues and seeing if there's something you need to tune on the inside to make it more efficient and more pleasing to your clients. So thank you very much for joining us today about Jira Service Management and making your teams more efficient. Please come see us at isostech.com and find a little more information about what we do and how we do it. Thank you.